Welcome back to ITBS Media. Last video we look at creating a login page with which we have another landing page. After the login page, you open to another page, and we said that page we will call it form window, where you fill a form. I'm still going to retain the word that word form window, but instead of creating a form, I decide we're going to create a table, and the table we want to create in the first page after we log in. That page will have a table, and the table will contain students' record. So we're going to title it Students Payment and Refund Record. So we're creating a scenario where in the financial aid office of a university or a college, the student record is prepared. So with our minimal information that we will put in the table, we will be able to see how such table can be prepared, and in your own project you can elaborate it. So let's start. Before, let me log in back into it so we see what we did last time. This front desk as the username, and the default password is password. Okay, so here we have the form. I'm going to close it out, and we continue. So today I will change this welcome page. Let me change it to financial record. And here we change this from, okay, let's just make it students payment and students payment and refund record. Okay, so we have that. Let's move on, and we're going to use grid method. So I'm going to change this from pack to grid and put row. So when you're using grid, you specify the row and the column for your widget. So let's put that at 2. Let's say row 2 and column say 1. Okay, so here now we're going to, the first thing we want to build here is our table. We're going to define the table column. But before we define the table column, we have to start with our building our Treeview table. So say tk.table equal ttk. Remember we imported ttk earlier in the last video. So we have Treeview and here we have our, where are we going to put it? We're going to put it in the form window. In the form window here, I'm going to put it in this. And that's where we put the label here too. So just copy this and put it in the okay. So we have our TTK in the form window. And what other thing do we need for the tree view? So we need to specify the height of the table. So let's give it 18. Then our columns, we need to specify the columns. Columns. So in here now we specify the columns, and let's say we have student ID, first name. Let's do that. First name, column. Then we have a last name. Let's give that LN. And next we have a total tuition. Maybe total tuition. So let's say call that TT. Then I put okay, TT, and we have a financial aid, or let's say payment. How much did the students pay after apart from the financial aid? If the students pay out of pocket, or we can say OP. Let's use OP for out of pocket. Out of pocket. Then we have refund. Do I have the financial aid there already? No, I don't have it. So for financial aid, let's put FA. This is how much financial aid the student is entitled. Then is the student entitled to refund? We know RF. Okay, with this we can proceed. Okay, 1 second, let me see. Unresolved TTK. Okay, let me remove this. Then form window label. I'm going to remove, put this down later. So I'll change this one now since I've made this on table TTK dots table. So let's make it this one TK dot table. The grid. Okay. Now let's create our column in between here. So I'm just going to do this. Define the table columns. So we say TK dot table dot column equal did I put equal there? No, not equal sign. Column. Okay. So our SID here, we start picking these ones and reference them. here as our columns. So SID, that is student ID, right? So we need to specify the width of the column. Width equals, let's make it 80. I think the default width is 200, but we don't need that much. So then minimum width, which is mean width, that is, if you collapse, if you are familiar with Excel, you can collapse the cell. So if you want to collapse the column, the minimum, or to what extent do you want that column to be collapsible, and to what extent do you want it not to be collapsed. So the minimum width that you can compress it to, we specify that, let's say that is 20. So once it's 20, you can compress it beyond that, so that the content in it can still show. You can know that we have a column there. So that is that. Let's just copy this to make the work faster, and come back to alright. So since we're having the same size for all of them, we don't need to change the width or the mean width. So let's make this our FN, and this our LN. That's our last name, first name, last name, and total tuition TT, out of pocket OP, financial aid FA, and refund as RF. Oh, careful when you type and say I put RF FR instead of RF. Okay. Yeah. Now let's define the table headings as the title on each column. Let me put it here. Define the table or the column headings. So we have similar thing. Only that the contents there will be different. Okay. So here we have heading instead of column. Column heading. Alright, now that we have all this here, so we change this one to text, cleaning this off. Text is what? So the first one, SIDs. This is what we want as the heading. Whatever you type here is what we show at the top of the table, at the top of that column. So you have student ID, student ID. Okay, and here text is what? That's first name. Last name. And then we have total tuition. That's the total tuition billed to the students. Out of pockets. If the students pay out of pockets, how much? Then financial aid awarded to the students. And finally, text refund. So that is about that. Okay. Oh, I see. The problem here is that we don't have a TTK, so I have to import TTK. We did not import TTK the last time. From tkinter import TTK. That should take care of that problem. Okay, it's gone because we import TTK now. Alright, we'll come back to deal with this. Cannot find referencing. Okay, init by. Okay. So what we have done so far is to create the table, columns, and the headings. Let's run and see if we will see anything. Remember, we have changed what the look should be. Okay, so we have our table coming up now, and if you look at it, you see that we have student ID, first name, last name, tuition, out of pocket, financial aid, and refund. But we have a default column here that comes with the creation of Treeview. So we're going to remove that, and we'll go ahead and remove it. How to remove that is we'll go back to our columns, because we have additional column given to us by default which we don't need and we don't want. So just tk dot table dot column. So that default column is identified as 0 pound 0 like this. So width is equal to 0, and mean width also 0. So we specify that. What have I done wrong? Let's see. Take the table. Oh, okay, I see what I have done wrong. Okay, so all right, I did not put it in braces. That should take care of it. Okay, we're good to go. So let's go back and run our code and see if that column is still there. Okay, it's gone. So we have this to play with now. That is that. Okay, so let's continue. Now that we have the table and the column, it's time to create the input label. The input label is what we need, or we use to input data into the table, and for that we're going to create a similar we are going to create similar names with entry and label. But today I think I will not be going into creating a function. In the next video we'll create function, or probably we should stop this video here, then in the next video we'll create a function. So we have moved forward today, and one thing that I would also like you to see, let's go back to our table. Have I closed it? Okay, I think I already closed it. Let me run it again. You can adjust your table depending on what you want. See, we don't have the label here, so we need to go and look for why our label is not showing. So let's look through and see why we have that missing. Okay, it has no, we did not put we did not position it. We created it, but we did not give it a position. Where do we want it to be? So we need to add .grid. Your grid is the positioning tool. That's what we tell Python where to position that object or widget you have created. So we have row. Let's see where we put the table itself, so that we'll be able to position. Okay, we say row 2. Okay, the table is positioned in row 2, so we position this in row 1. Row equal 1, and we can put the column and let's say 2. If we want it to span, we can say column span equal 2. So with this, now it should show. Let's run it again. Alright, see where it is now, it's centered in our page. But if we want it directly on top of this table, in case we want another table to be at the right side, so we can bring it back to, we can bring the column back to that 1 or 0. So your grid will determine where it will be located. In Python, the grid, your column is numbered 0, 1, 2, 3. Your rows are also numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, and forth like that. So if you're starting from the first row, it's going to be 0. The second row is going to be 1. The third row is going to be 2. That's how it is numbered. So let's go back and position this as in column 0, and let's see, and we said it should span across 2 columns. That means it should start from 0 and end in 1. That's what it means. Okay, so we can see now it's well positioned on top of the table. So that's all we will do in this particular video. We have created our table, we have positioned our the label for that table, and we have put the headings. So then in our next video, we're going to create the input boxes, and we will be able to add record to this table. So watch out for the next video, or if you look in at this particular at the description, I will have a link to the description. Thank you, and remember to subscribe.